Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. It's lunchtime, hump day, Wednesday, just after the long weekend, after the Easter weekend. I'm just down here Harbourside in front of the Museum of Contemporary Art, and it's a beautiful afternoon, just a little bit of cloud, an easterly, a very, very gentle easterly breeze, and a few people about, but nowhere near the pre-COVID numbers yet. But things are slowly getting better and slowly coming back to a normal. What I want to do today is talk about a book summary that I just went through on the bus this morning, and it's a book summary entitled "On Liberty," and it was written by a fellow called John Stuart Mill. John Stuart Mill, who's an English philosopher, a celebrated English philosopher. So this book goes into a bit of depth about what liberty is, about democracy, and I guess some of the advantages and disadvantages that come from these concepts. So what I'll do is I'll go for a bit of a walk and talk, I think, and just see where it leads us. But it's a beautiful afternoon for a volta, and as you can see, you've got the water taxi coming in here. So I might start off just down here at the steps of the Commissioner's steps, and just enjoy the boats coming and going. So on liberty and democracy, it's the sort of things that everybody chats about, everybody is passionate about, everybody fights for, dies for. But the key point, or one of the key points that the author makes early in his book, is that one person with a belief is equal to a force of 99 who have only interests. Pretty interesting. So what the author here is suggesting is that one person who has a fervent belief has a lot more weight, a lot more influence, and a lot more power than 99 people who just share an interest. So let's move on. After mulling over that, what the author says here, and it was quite interesting because I wasn't quite aware of it, but it's something that I learnt new today, that he said that democracy, this whole concept of democracy, people talk about democracy, as I said before, people fight for it, people die for it, but John Stuart Mill, the famous English philosopher, says that democracy alone does not guarantee personal freedom. And the reason why personal freedoms are not guaranteed under democracy is that because of the fact that in democracy the majority rule over the individual. So personal freedoms can be threatened in democracy, and there are levels of social tyranny which also evolve out of democracy. So let's talk about this a little bit more and pursue it a little bit more as well, because sometimes, and you get to feel it sometimes, and I think we've felt it a lot over the past few years, where sometimes the majority imposes their view on individuals, even though those individuals don't agree. We've had these debates over the past few years on same-sex marriage, on abortion, and a number of different topics which are quite edgy, and topics which are in some ways, or in many ways, diametrically opposed to many of the Christian beliefs and the foundational beliefs of many religions. And yet, because the majority or a particular group seem to push these views, it's almost imposed upon the rest to accept these views and to follow these views as if they are right, even though, as I said before, they are diametrically opposed to the Christian values that many of us have grown up on, and where many of our family and ancestors have grown up on as well. So what the author is saying is that where you get bullying, where you get people imposing their view on everybody else, and it means that you lose your personal freedom, then that's an ugly part of democracy. And that's an example of democracy not working all that well. So let's move on to the next formal point, which comes out of this book, where the author says it's okay to limit people's freedoms when you're trying to save them from harm. And you see this with laws and things that happen in communities. Because to assure personal freedom, we need to limit other people's freedoms in order to save them from harm. And there are examples of this, you know, with speeding laws, alcohol laws, smoking, drug laws. All of these things are designed to save people from self-harm and also to save people from third-party harm. So the author has cleverly broken up these freedoms into three categories. The first category is called harm by default, where we need to have laws or we need to protect people from self-harm or them harming others. Like people, as I said before, drinking too much, taking too many drugs, speeding too much, and doing silly things like climbing up on cranes. Actually, on the weekend, that crane there on that work site that I work on, some idiots broke into the site and climbed to the very, very top. To the very, very top, that orange part of that crane there. How they didn't kill themselves, God only knows. But I do work with a couple of people who have been in the construction industry for quite a while, who have actually seen people take their lives and fall from a very, very great height. And they say that you don't want to be there. You don't want to hear a body hitting the ground next to you and just hearing that shriek, that scream just before impact, which once again reminds us that people who take their lives, people who commit suicide, you know, whilst they go through the process, they think about it, most people regret it just after they take that leap. And as I said, a friend of mine was telling me to hear that that heart-wrenching, that hair-raising scream just before a body hits the ground will never ever leave you, and it will torment you to the end of your life. So we need to do things to help people from harming themselves, and this is called harm by default. We also need to help to save people from a second harm called harm by omission, and it's where people do things like avoid paying taxes, avoid paying for things that they've bought, who basically just don't do things that they're supposed to do. You know, a person who has an accident and flees the scene as opposed to staying there to exchange their details or to help anyone who may be injured. We need to have laws to protect people from harm from omission. And the third type of law that we need to restrict people's freedoms is harm by accident. And for example, when you see a child falling from a balcony, to at least have a duty of care and to reach out and try and grab it, or to help somebody who's about to commit suicide by stopping them or calling the police or doing something. So if you're there about to witness an accident and you're able to do something, then by all means you need to step in and help change the course of that event. And the last point from this book is a really powerful one, a really awesome sort of point, and something that I guess I've learned to appreciate over the years, because being a Greek Orthodox Christian, I'm forever having to defend my views, my points of opinion, my beliefs, my way of life with other people. But what the author here says, that something which is quite empowering, is that false opinions are good and important. So we mustn't shield ourselves from other people's opinions. We need to embrace, to welcome debate, to welcome other people's opinions, because it's these opinions where we're confronted by different beliefs that in many ways help us cement our views, help us clarify what we really believe, and are important for us to help us get it clear in our mind what is important to us, and to prioritise our beliefs, and to take on other people's views and opinions, and to understand that not everybody has the same view, not everybody has the same blessing or the same gift of the truth, and that many people are at different stages of their growth and development. Some people are very mature with their spirituality. They're spiritual pygmies. They're bonsais when it comes to their spirituality, and they haven't really spent much time searching or learning or investing in going to classes, reading scriptures, or basically having life experiences which are moving and can be quite revealing. So the good thing about having controversial opinions, or other people having opinions which are diametrically opposed to ours, is that they allow us to think, to compare and contrast. And it's when we stop questioning, and when others stop questioning us, that we become to mimic everybody else, and we lose our convictions and our values. We need to have our values and our convictions forged in the ovens where there's a lot of heat, a lot of pressure, and to forge, as I said before, the opinions that we have, the views that we have, so that we're comfortable. We're comfortable with them, we're happy with them, and we can support them. And the last point which comes out of this book, which is an absolute cracker, is that we should try and have the following mindset. I never allow myself to have an opinion on anything that I don't know the other side's argument better than they do. So learn about your faith, learn about your culture, learn about your heritage, but take time to learn about other people's cultures, religions and heritage, because by learning about other people's, you can compare and contrast. You can see where they're similar and where they're absolutely different. And then you can start weighing up and prioritizing and seeing how different they are, and compared to the truths that you have, the experiences that you have, the books that you've read, your critical thinking, using that to have a balanced and rounded view. So I think I'll leave it there for now. So it's turned out to be a useful book summary, so I really enjoyed delivering this one here. It's very, very deep, it's very, very powerful, but by the same token, we need to stretch ourselves. We need to bend and stretch ourselves and enable us to grow and develop and to become more rounded versions, not physically, but mentally and spiritually, where we can expand as best we can. So thank you very much for joining me. Let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, stay excited, stay committed, and by all means, protect your personal liberty, protect democracy, but know very, very well that there will be people, there will be organisations, there will be the media who will be against you and will try to pressure you to change your views, rightly or wrongly. It's up to you to determine how important your culture, your views, your heritage, your traditions are to you, and to make that value call. But we know very well, he or she who stands for nothing eventually falls for everything, and they end up having no sound values, no personal freedoms, no opinions, and they basically become nobodies, because they've got no convictions and no values, or no convictions that are worth fighting for or standing up for, or values to base any logic or any lifestyles upon. So thank you once again, and we'll chat again, and I'll head back to work now. Take care. Good luck ya from Jim's 5am Club, and we'll chat again shortly. Bye.